pull that thing up a little. Enough! Enough! You're making the other shows feel bad.
Wait, we didn't get a Greg out of that one.
No.
Give the man a Greg.
Give him a Greg.
All right.
Okay.
Watch your ass.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. So a teen with werewolf syndrome has set a world record with hair covering 95% of his face. This, of course, breaks the previous record set by this woman. The WNBA's Angel Reese claims players may strike if their demands aren't met. Or even worse, they'll keep playing. Michelle Obama is launching a podcast with her brother, disproving the theory that Michelle and her brother were the same person. But it is nice to see that she's teaming up with her brother. Just don't go overboard, Michelle. New study found that most people admit they'd be cool with their partner hooking up with a robot. Finally, I can make an honest woman out of my Roomba. Slow. And a related story, women who wouldn't hook up with a robot change their mind if it turns out it's this one. The Museum of Failure houses some of the world's greatest flops. Visitors can see attractions such as Crystal Pepsi, Carrot Cake Oreos, and of course, the Don Lemon exhibit. Amazon Studios, the new owner of the James Bond franchise, promises that the beloved super spy will remain male and British. Well, that rules out Prince Harry. Researchers say the more you spend time with dogs, the more likely you are to misread their emotions. For example, this one isn't angry. It's hungry. According to a new survey, attractive workers earn $20,000 more per year than unattractive ones. For example, here's some data on famous faces. And a London club has banned audience members with frozen faces that are due to Botox. So guess who canceled their girls' trip to England?
They look the same.
They do look the same.
Is that Michael Jackson?
Yes, it is. All right, so how do you know when you're doing the right thing? When you drive the nutty people even nuttier. Here's a federal worker losing her mind over Elon's 5 work achievements email.
When you wake up or when you're on your weekend and you get the fork in the road message, or you get the subsequent 5 bullets, hey, what the hell did you do, you lazy federal worker, this week? How frightening is it that someone on X, the owner of X, speaks to you directly to say, what did you do last week at work? And if you don't answer, I am going to fire you.
Okay. So an email that asks you what you did at work is terrifying. Oh, you're going to hate being married. So glad she wore the mask, you know. She didn't want to catch anything from people 50 yards away. But also, you get asked what you did at work all the time in the private sector. I'll tell you what I did off the top of my head. Last week, I taped The Five in Gutfeld. I did an interview with NPR. I met with my team over scripts. And I made Peter Ducey shave my back. He volunteered. I said yes. Look, no one's calling all federal employees lazy, but when we give you $40 billion for Wi-Fi and no one's hooked up, we're going to want to see what it is you do all day. For some odd reason, Dems can't deal with a president that expects a return on our tax dollars. Right now, Musk might be the one immigrant the left doesn't love, despite his many illegitimate children.
Hey.
Is that a funny word? Of course.
Not to me.
If he committed... If Musk had committed a few dozen felonies, they'd build him a statue. But maybe it took an immigrant, someone from outside the system, to show us how our government's become more bloated than Jerry Nadler after a Cheese Whiz enema. That's how he takes it.
Wow.
Musk visited our good friend Larry and stressed Doge's transparency.
When people criticize, say, what Doge is doing, we say, well, which part specifically? Because we put all of the actions of the Doge team on the Doge.gov website and on the Doge handle on X. So we post the receipts. So it's like, this action has been taken, this action has been taken. Which cost saving do you disagree with? And then people usually can't think of any.
Of course, transparency can suck, like if you come across Michael Moore in a damp moo-moo. But not only are Musk and Doge trying to save taxpayers billions, they're actually posting the details of exactly how they're doing it on a website. Now, every elected official vows to have the most transparent administration ever. But have you ever seen him do it, to actually make the effort open to the American public? Nope. And we put up with that for years. Meanwhile, with private companies, people trash Delta on X if you can't get a rep on the phone in 3 minutes with your complaint about your seat upgrade, or to ask why your all-female crew landed the plane on its back. But we let the government pick our pockets daily and tell us what kind of light bulbs and stoves we can buy. We always knew they were screwing us. Now we have the receipts for the condoms to prove it. And the left is furious. Yep, the same people who glue themselves to my helicopter pad over climate change now can't stand the guy who sells more electric cars than anyone on Earth. I'm sorry, wasn't Musk an environmental superhero a few years ago when he was leading us all into a carbon-free future? And how many greenhouse gases are you adding to the atmosphere when you burn down Tesla dealerships? Because right now, firebombing Musk's stores has become the left's new pastime. Meet Lucy. I know you're surprised, right? He used to go by Justin. He got caught tossing Molotov cocktails at a Colorado Tesla dealership a few weeks ago. Of course, he got released the next day. And as usual, the mainstreamers ignored the story, just like they ignored their ratings. Imagine if someone had vandalized a Planned Parenthood. You'd sure know that person's name and face. But this guy is trans. Gorgeous at that. And on the right side, so he's fine. It's so funny how the Dems back some transitions and not others. Little boys into little girls, sure. Fossil fuels replaced by windmills, why not? Red meat replaced by an insect puree, that's progress. The transitions the Dems embrace are bat crazy. But when it comes to a practical transition, one that seeks to change a corrupt system into a transparent and efficient one, well, they firebomb a shop. But once you've decided against all evidence and reality that you are the good guy, you can excuse anything. They even push the myth that Musk is in it for himself. Have you seen Tesla's stock lately? It's lower than Rosie O'Donnell's testicles. Slow. This guy's willing to bankrupt his company to prevent the bankruptcy of his country. Something the Bernies and the Pelosi's of the world would never do. But the media pushes this lie as they push the Biden is fine cover-up because it helps Dems. Never mind that both hoaxes harm America. It's all to benefit an angry and lost party. Finally, if we're finding all about this now, you know it's been going on for years, meaning they wasted your parents' money too. It just got worse the last 10 years when the government was hijacked by activists. Mad about your job prospects, pissed off that you're the first generation that won't do better than mom and dad? Well, maybe you would have been better off if Doge had come along decades ago. Then you wouldn't be a PhD who has to bathe in a Starbucks restroom. Let's welcome tonight's guest! She has a new last name and puts Democrats to shame. Republican strategist Aaron McGuire. When he cooks outside, he's a public master baster, Chef Andrew Growell. Thank you very much. She's got 4 eyes, 2 kids, and 0 Fs. Host of the Kennedy Saves the World podcast, Kennedy. And he's enormous and here to inform us, New York Times bestselling author, comedian, and former heavyweight champion, Tyrus. Aaron, what did you make of that federal employee in the mask complaining that her boss asked her what she did for a living? Not really her boss, so to speak, but he is kind of right now.
Well, I think this is exactly why DOJ exists, is because I have worked in the government before. We've known that these bureaucrats were always entrenched in the system, but now we're able to get them out. And apparently doing the bare minimum of telling people what you do for your paycheck is too much to ask for.
Yes.
But Democrats can't hide their crazy anymore, and it's been really fun to watch because they are having a slow meltdown over the fact that a man is trying to not waste money, and that is causing them to freak out. They are asking you what you did and where the money went, and Democrats are saying, oh, dear God, no. So I think that Republicans have a better chance at the midterms now if Democrats keep chasing Elon around D.C.
I love it, how Dems will tell you their pronouns and who they bang, but they won't tell you what they do for a living. How dare you ask me that? That's none of your business. But do you know that I like to sleep with goats? It's not bad. Andrew, terrible joke. It is kind of interesting to see them tackle this from a business perspective, and yet they're so upset that they have to actually look at a bottom line.
None of these people have ever hired an employee. They've never worked in the private sector. A few of them have, but they were probably fired, and that's why they're still mad and bitter. I also find it funny that Lucy was throwing Molotov cocktails, and yet it's Trump who's the one who's in bed with Russia.
Yeah.
But the Molotov cocktail is their #1 weapon. Something's
Yes.
weird here. Americans have gotten fat and lazy. Not all Americans, but a lot of Americans have gotten fat and lazy and complacent eating off the all-you-can-eat buffet. And that's been happening for decades, and it's only gotten worse and worse. And now finally, as we sit here and we lack logic and reason and all of those things that we learn in elementary school, and the other Americans are recognizing that, we're saying, hey, you know what? We've been setting this buffet up, and nobody's eating the muffins. Nobody's doing this, so we're going to remove those. And they're saying, no, we want the buffet full of everything. So
Yes.
it's like Elon is pulling these things right now, not Social Security or Medicare, things that we're just wasting money. And they just still want it up there because they want it to be wasted. Whenever we hire somebody in the restaurant industry, a young kid, we have to sit them down, and we have to explain to them about life, and most importantly, taxes. We say, when you get your paycheck, there are going to be taxes taken out. None of them have been taught that. They don't
Yes.
understand that. And when I watch this lady who's 65, 70 years old, hiding her mustache behind her mask, I think to myself, she reminds me of those 10-year-old, well, no, we don't hire 10-year-olds. Not yet.
Slip up.
Yeah, she
Anymore.
reminds me of those young teenage kids that we're hiring who don't understand how the world works, and yet somehow she slipped her way through, and she's 65 and still doesn't understand how it works.
I was that person. I remember when I got my first paycheck, it was like $22,000 a year, and I thought it was really $22,000.
Yeah.
And I purchased things based on that. I had no idea that I was like, maybe I was getting 15. It was pathetic, Kennedy. I know. You know, Kennedy, I had a question here that I only thought you could answer.
Yes, they're real. Thank
Yes.
you. And I'm not the only one who could answer that, but thank you.
Don't look at me.
What if this Doge thing is all BS? If they're passing this bill and nothing's going to change? I mean, are we being suckered? Like, I can't believe that Trump and Musk would do all this and then not cut. But I'm watching him pass these bills. I'm confused by this whole budget process.
So you feel like you're being gaslit.
Yes.
So you feel like this is an episode of Severance.
I don't believe that they would lie to us. I have good faith. But when's it going to happen?
So here's the problem, because Elon Musk has enough money. So he doesn't need any power, he doesn't need any money, but he is agnostically looking at the federal government, and he knows, to your point, you're absolutely right. Like, people metaphorically and practically have been at the all-you-can-eat buffet, and so have all these NGOs and every government agency. So what he's doing is he's taking away their Spanx. So, it's like that sucks everyone in and hides the weight loss, and he's offering them Ozempic, and they're absolutely freaking out.
Yeah.
But he's doing it essentially beholden to no one. And there are people like Elizabeth Warren, like, well, he's got contracts with the federal government, and that may be true, and hopefully there aren't conflicts of interest. But what he's doing is so much more important and so necessary, and we've been forced into this position. Unfortunately, Congress and both parties are guilty of this. They love giving the handouts. They love being the ones going, no, we're going to give you, oh, sure, we need to cut everything else, but we're going to give you chocolate cake. We're going to give you blueberry muffins. We're going to give you strawberry cheesecake, all you can eat in every single district. So that's why Congress is having a really hard hard time making the actual cuts, and that's why you're forcing it on someone who really doesn't care if he goes away from the federal government tomorrow.
And to complete this analogy, they're giving all this food at the buffet, and Trump and Elon, they're the colonoscopy that goes up your ass to see all the damage. Tyrus, welcome back, by the way.
Thanks.
Yes, I'm sorry.
So you want me to comment on the?
No, I want to.
No, actually, you know, I actually don't need a question.
Yes.
Because I've given this a lot of thought. Because the reason why they despise Elon is because Elon is what they pretend to be. He's an activist in the sense that he's doing something selfless to make a change with no benefit to himself, to put himself in peril. They pretend that.
Right.
For profit.
Good point.
So he's the mirror. You'll see it, like if anyone watches movies, there's that great old school Mozart movie where the guy just hated him because he was good.
Amadeus.
Yeah, Amadeus, yes.
So many notes.
Yeah. They just didn't like him because he was good. And he shows us exactly what they're not. But see, President Trump was trying to do the same thing, but they have a corrupt system in place to check and balance him. They can get a couple of Republicans to get a couple of dollars under the table so they won't vote for him. They'll get enough Democrats who are in it for the money-making business of being corrupt. So everything he says is wrong. And plus, they have fake monsters. Like Polar Bear is going to die 10 years ago. And according to AOC, we're already dead, right? We're all living in purgatory right now. But they do those things. They create false things that they can control and pull, but there's not really anything there. He's showing America the real problem, the real things, at his own peril, to the point where, and we're seeing it because anyone who attacks him, and again, this is where the Hitler stuff we always talk about coming in, they are getting people by saying they're horrible things, that now we have these martyrs that are coming out to come after him. What was he? He was a trans dude, whatever. Lucy, yeah, that, Justin. And
Justin. How come there's so many violent trans people lately? Is this all like an
angry dudes with nothing else to call themselves?
Yeah.
But now when they're attacking Elon, they're released from prison the next day. Yeah. And then people come out and they don't condemn them. So they want more of it because they can't. What Elon is representing is everything against the cultural corruption that is in our government because they can't touch him because he's not in it for profit.